Hello, and welcome to our channel. On September 22nd, 2025, the US FDA took a very unusual step. It decided to reopen the approval process for a drug that had been pulled from the market more than 25 years ago, this time with the aim of treating autism. This is part of a broader effort under the Trump administration to investigate the causes of autism and search for potential treatments. The drug in question is Leucovorin, developed by GlaxoSmithKline. It is a brand version of Leucovorin calcium, a compound already widely available in generic form and commonly used to ease side effects of certain medications, including cancer treatments. Today, we're going to take this news as our starting point and discuss why Leucovorin might hold promise for treating autism. First, let's look at the current situation. According to data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the prevalence of autism has soared nearly fourfold since the year 2000. Now, about 1 in every 31 American children is affected. And yet, despite these striking numbers, the reality remains frustrating. There are still no FDA-approved medical therapies that directly target the core symptoms of autism spectrum disorder or its underlying biological mechanisms. For many families, behavioral therapy, such as ABA, remains almost the only option. That leaves a huge gap in comprehensive care. But now, we may be witnessing a historic breakthrough. On September 22nd, 2025, the FDA initiated the approval process for Leucovorin calcium tablets to treat cerebral folate deficiency, or CFD, a condition linked to developmental delays and autism-like symptoms. After reviewing the scientific literature, the agency recognized evidence showing that Leucovorin, a form of folate capable of entering the brain, can address low folate levels in CFD. The FDA announced that it intends to request a supplemental new drug application from GSK to update the drug's labeling to include this new indication. This is a landmark step. It could establish the first FDA-recognized therapy for CFD and its associated symptoms, including autism. So, what exactly is cerebral folate deficiency? In simple terms, it is a neurological disorder. Patients with CFD usually have normal folate levels in their blood, but the transport of folate into the brain is disrupted. We know that folate is crucial for brain development, for DNA methylation, and for the production of neurotransmitters. When folate cannot effectively enter the brain, a cascade of problems follows. Children with CFD often show autism-like behaviors, speech delays, and sensory processing difficulties. A key discovery has been that up to 75% of children with autism test positive for something called folate receptor alpha autoantibodies, or FRAs. These autoantibodies act like roadblocks, preventing folate from being transported into the brain. In 2016, Dr. Richard Fry and colleagues conducted a landmark study showing a clear link between FRAs and the severity of autism symptoms. They found that the presence of FRAs was directly associated with irritability in behavior. This was a turning point, helping researchers identify the subgroup of children with autism most likely to benefit from Leucovorin treatment. Now, let's consider the scientific basis. Folate plays a vital role in methylation reactions, DNA synthesis, and the production of neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. When FRAs block the folate receptor alpha, folate delivery to the central nervous system plummets, disrupting all of these essential processes. Leucovorin, however, is a biologically active form of folate. Its special advantage is that it can bypass the blockade created by autoantibodies and directly enter the brain. Once inside, it restores folate-dependent metabolic pathways. The result is improved brain function, which in turn can enhance speech, social interaction, and behavior. Back in 2018, a clinical trial led by Dr. Fry showed that 12 weeks of high-dose Leucovorin significantly improved verbal communication in children with autism compared to placebo, especially in those who tested positive for FRAs. More recently, a randomized controlled trial published in the European Journal of Pediatrics in 2024 studied 78 children with autism, ages 2 to 10, over a 24-week treatment period. Using a double-blind randomized design, researchers gave children either 2 milligrams per kilogram per day of Leucovorin or placebo. The results were striking. The Leucovorin group showed a 3.6-point improvement on the Childhood Autism Rating Scale, compared to only 2.4 points in the placebo group. This difference was statistically significant, with a p-value less than 0.001. Even more encouraging, no adverse effects were reported. These improvements in CAR scores are especially meaningful as they highlight tangible clinical benefits. Moreover, the degree of behavioral improvement was strongly correlated with higher FRAA antibody titers. Looking ahead, several directions are being pursued for leucovorin therapy. Ongoing NIH trials aim to validate its effectiveness and long-term safety on a larger scale. Researchers are also developing biomarkers, such as FRAA titers, to guide personalized treatment and realize the promise of precision medicine. And there is active exploration of combining leucovorin with other metabolic interventions to enhance outcomes. Of course, we need to recognize the limitations. Leucovorin is not a miracle cure. Its benefits seem strongest in specific subgroups of children with autism, particularly those with FRA positivity and speech or social communication challenges. Treatment requires ongoing medical supervision and careful monitoring. The best outcomes are seen when leucovorin is used alongside behavioral therapies such as ABA, speech therapy, and occupational therapy. Some experts caution that FDA approval may be premature, as most of the supporting evidence comes from relatively small trials, many conducted outside the United States. More research is needed before the therapy can be widely applied to children and adults. For children without cerebral folate deficiency, the long-term effects of leucovorin remain unclear. Responses vary depending on FRA status and other factors. In practice, this means leucovorin should be viewed as part of a broader, integrated treatment strategy, one that combines medical approaches to address metabolic dysfunction with behavioral therapies to maximize overall progress. Dr. Fry, the lead author of the 2016 study, has also emphasized that while leucovorin can be effective, it must be used in combination with other established therapies, and it is not a cure for autism. It may not help all children. In summary, whether leucovorin can truly transform the treatment of autism is still under debate, and the journey is far from over. But it is a promising step that deserves close attention. That's all for today's discussion. If you found this content helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.